Okay, I did it. I'm so terrible at trying to figure out how to do this and make the background look somewhat normal. I didn't do anything, I just kept playing with it. So, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so what I wanted to say today, and I really didn't want to do this today at all. I woke up feeling deep depression this morning, and I haven't felt that in quite some time. It doesn't mean that I can't feel that occasionally, but I haven't felt it that deeply in a long time. And these are the things that I did, and I wanted to share this. I am so reluctant to doing this, but then I keep getting this inner push, this inner wisdom to like just share genuinely what you're going through and what you do to serve yourself so you can show up. And so what I did today is I had a big old thing of tea and sat outside. It's really all I felt like I could do, and read a spiritual book that's really inspiring for me, and listened to soft spiritual music in the background. And then after that I went for a really long walk. And you know, I'm on the west coast of the States, which is where all the fires are, so the air quality here is really bad. It's really quite scary. But I just needed to get out and move my body. When I came back, I had fresh juice of celery, and then I talked to someone that I really love and admire. I did before actually I read my book. I did an hour of meditation and an hour of chanting. And sometimes what's interesting is those things really help right away. And I forgot to mention that part. It didn't immediately help. And I did go outside and just sit and felt incredibly overwhelmed. And now I feel much better. I feel nervous again because I'm like, why are you doing this? And then I just have to get over that. Why are you doing this? You're just doing it because you're trying to put something into the world really raw that may be helpful to somebody else. So that being said, thank you. I'm happy to take questions if you have any questions for me. It's not that I'm all knowing or I know lots of stuff, but if I do, there's one last thing I can share with you. I pulled a card while I was speaking to the person today, and the card that I pulled is called Soul Gifts and Training. It's time to step up. So that's what this looks like. And and the reason that I'm doing this today is because I got that as well. I was like, okay, you just show up. It doesn't matter how it looks or what you look like. Just show up. So I just read Which Teacher Inspires Me the Most. Hi, Taryn. I always look down and you're there, Taryn. Maybe somewhat quickly. I don't have one teacher that inspires me. Everyone's my teacher. Everyone's my teacher. Even the people I'm completely challenged by or I don't like. My own negative qualities are my teachers. There is nothing that is not my teacher, but spiritually speaking, my main teacher is Amachi. And the first teacher I ever had, spiritually speaking, that I connected deeply with is Paramahansa Yogananda. That's a picture of him an hour before he died. Yes, one of the best books I have ever read that put me on my path was Autobiography of a Yogi that Paramahansa Yogananda wrote. And there is an audio of it that I listen to all the time. I was listening to it this morning while I was going for the walk by Ben Kingsley. And just listening to Ben Kingsley's voice, reading what Yogananda's experience was, is incredible. And it's they say that book will change your life. So Autobiography of a Yogi is one of my favorite books. There's so many people writing, so it's hard to... It's funny you find me peaceful right now, because right now I feel not so peaceful. Oh, hi, Deborah. You know, for someone just asked about music for yoga practices. I have Spotify, and I think my Spotify is open where people can look at all of my lists. So you're welcome to look at my lists. It's varied, but I love my lists. I love my music lists. Hi, everyone. So there's one thing I'm just going to share right now. I will tell you my favorite stone. My favorite stone is not in beauty, but it's in grounding, would be hematite, which is that. Which, if you pick up other people's energy really easily, it can really throw you. And this helps you ground and not pick up everybody else's energy. Picking up other people's energy is genius when you're teaching something like yoga, because you don't even have to look at people and you can tell that they're overthinking. But when you're out in the world and there's a lot of stress and a lot of fear, like what's going on right now, especially on the West Coast of the States, it's really helpful to have things like that. I also love pyrite. This is pyrite as well. So one thing that I did want to do is I wanted to share what my teacher does. And that's one of the things I did while I was walking around the neighborhood, is I did the peace chant the whole way around the neighborhood for like an hour. And usually I've got judgment about where I am, and I feel like it's not my home, and it's very uncomfortable. And you know, this time when I was walking around, it occurred to me to make everything my home, and all of these people my people, and get rid of the separation and the idea that I'm so different from other people. That's just not helpful. Land where you are and serve to the best of your ability wherever you are. Now that's easy to say, harder to do, but today I was able to do it. So the chant is, and Amma talks about this, my teacher talks about this, and it's not just her chant, it's Hindu, it's Buddhist, and it doesn't have to be any of that. It doesn't matter if you're of a religion or no religion. But the idea is, you imagine the white flowers of peace falling all over the earth, like snowflakes or like gentle rain, all over the mountains, the oceans, fields, the cities, all the animals' heads, and our own heads, and especially over the fires that are happening. If you are up for it and you feel called to, we need help. So what my teacher said is, our minds, humans' minds, and nature is in an agitated state, which you can see, and they're connected, because we think we're so separate from the earth, but we're not. We're deeply connected. We are the earth, and when we die, we go right back to the earth, our physical beings. So when we chant this, I'll chant this 9 times. You're welcome to join me if you'd like. The chant is Loka Samasta Sugino Bhavantu, and it means, may all beings be happy. May all beings have peace. So I don't know how much battery I have left, so it might end me before I have it. But so we're gonna Om 3 times. It's the sound of the universe. Imagine those white flowers of peace to be falling everywhere, including your own head as you chant. Loka samasta sugino bhavantu. 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 Loka samasta sugino mamandu. Loka samasta sugino mamandu. Loka samasta sugino mamandu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So, if I can do this, and I'm uncomfortable doing this, you can have courage to do something beautiful out in the world. You can do something that serves other people in some way that brings more peace. Because that's what we need. We need to all come together and find a way to calm our hearts down and to put gentleness out there, especially right now. Me too. Oh my God, me too. It's a challenging period astrologically because Mars is in Aries and it's retrograde at the same time. And that's a very fiery action. And then we've got something else happening as well. And Capricorn. So everything is kind of feeling stuck, and also it's very easy to be angry. It's really easy to be angry right now. Someone wrote, "You're still pretty." Why, thank you. That's very important to me. Actually, it probably still is, and I would like to keep letting that go. So let me see if anyone else has another question. I'd be happy to answer one for you. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. It's my uncomfortable pleasure. Do you have any questions I can answer before I can go? No, just waves. Okay, so I can't read that out loud because it's too fast, but what do I do? What are the practices that I do to help keep myself calm and sensory overload? It's a great question because last night I can see that I set myself up. So last night I had done a bunch of spiritual practice. It was a very auspicious day yesterday, and I was in bed early, and I decided to watch Hulu out of the blue, which I tend to try not to do because I find that I love stories, but if I'm in a kind of an addicted mode, I find the stories to be quite dark, and then it affects me negatively, and I don't want to be. It's like food. So when you watch something, it's just like eating something that might not necessarily be good for you. It tastes great at the time, but then you feel kind of bad. So I was watching something last night, and in a total addict mood. I was watching it for like 5 hours. Now, that's not something I'm proud of. It's not something I recommended. It's not something I normally do, although I have done it before. And the story was very similar to how I grew up, and there was a lot of pain involved in it. And I think that had a lot to do with not helping feeling depressed in the morning. And then I have to scramble to do a lot of other things to keep myself on an even keel. So I do need to be responsible for what I ingest, and not just like food-wise, for the people that I talk to, for my meditations, for the things I watch. And nighttime is a lot easier to watch things because the energies, I get very lazy at night. It's kind of addictive to want to, have popcorn or, not that I think there's anything wrong with it in general, but it's not great I can't digest it well. So, so what do? I do my practice. I do something called Kriya Yoga, which is a form of meditation. I try to do it every day for at least an hour, and then I've started to do the practice with one of my dear friends in the afternoon as well for an hour, and I find that really helps a lot. And then I chant with another one of my dear friends every day for about an hour as well. So all those things help. I also like, it's very nice, I also like going to the park to do my yoga because I like to get out of the house, and I would say in fresh air, but we're not in fresh air right now, and move. And if I'm out in public, even if it's in a park, I notice that I am willing to work harder than I do if I'm alone. It must be leftover actress stuff. I don't necessarily want to be watched, but it does keep me inspired. So do whatever inspires you to make sure you get your exercise in that feels good to your system. Do I usually have anxiety? I have come from I was very bright and shiny as a kid, really friendly, like loved humans. And then I had a rather dark upbringing, and I became very dark myself. So I had a great deal of anxiety, and I'm sure I still even have anxiety now that I'm not aware of. I think our society is addicted to being on high anxiety, and that we're not aware of until we burn out, and then we're like, oh, something's wrong. So I have come a long way, but there's still so much more. There's always more room to grow. I'm not starting the YouTube yet. I'm practicing on this first so I can get used to it. Hopefully that I will get used to it, and even if I don't, then I'll just suck it up and I'll still do it. But right now, this is my practice. You guys are my practice. I agree, Carly. The light can come from the dark. I find that when I'm really grateful for all of the negative experiences I've had in my life, because if my life was super easy, then I wouldn't have worked so hard to go towards the unknown, towards my beloved, towards to have to find something bigger than I am. Because at one point in my life, it was either find that or die. Those were that sounds really extreme, but actually in my 20s and sometimes in my 30s even, those were my choices in my mind. You're welcome. Yes, someone's asking what they can do to give back. For me, the best thing you could do to give back is to also go on social media in any form, like go on your Facebook posts or Instagram or Twitter, and put things out there that are loving and kind and helpful, and with the aim to serve all of us. Like we need to get over the idea that we're islands and that we're all by ourselves. Me too. Because we are all connected and we need each other. And what's happening with the world right now is so intense. And we've got to put something beautiful back into this. And we all have the ability to do that, even if you feel like you don't. Any other questions before I disappear? I love all the hearts. It's very sweet. Yes, there is a lot of hatred in the world, but it's not outside of us. That's the problem. So I think it's first really important to be able to learn to sit still with yourself and to see where your challenges lie within yourself, where that negativity is within yourself, that hatred, those things that you're challenged by, instead of just looking on the outside, because that's really easy to do, is to point the finger and say, they're wrong and they're bad. And I'm not saying we're wrong or we're bad, but look where you're challenged. Look where you're suffering. Because when you have anger, when you have fear, when you have hatred, you're suffering. When you have anxiety, you're suffering. And what can you do? This is really good. This is a good suggestion. What I do when I feel those things, and I do. I mean, there's a reason I played dark characters when I was an actress. There's reasons. And it's not gone. It's not all gone. Talk to any of my friends, any of them. They will be glad to tell you it is not gone. But it has changed. It has changed a great deal. Is what I have been doing lately is I listened to a man called Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh was a Vietnamese monk during the Vietnamese War. And he talks about taking care of yourself and going back home to yourself. And that we must find a home within ourselves. And we're so busy looking at the outside and trying to look good to each other and judging each other that we don't find that, we don't realize that we're suffering and that we need to make a safe, loving home within ourselves. And when we can do that, we can be a safe place for other human beings. And anything on YouTube that he talks about right now, I find healing to my agitated heart. Because it's going to be this way until, I think, mid-November. It's going to be in this kind of fiery, agitated, angry place. Someone wrote, monsters are real. Yes, but the things that I think we need to look at is, where do those monsters lie within ourselves? Because we can't do much about the other people's monsters. What we can do is look within ourselves to see where we're agitated, where we're judgmental, where we are full of hate, anger. It's all based on fear. It comes from fear. And what can we do about that? Because when we start turning inward, you know that thing that Gandhi said, that you are the change that you're looking for. It's you. It's you that you're looking for, not outside you. It's you. So I think that's everything I want to say right now. I'm grateful to be able to talk to you, and thank you for showing up with me and writing back to me. Sorry, I'm reading all the things everybody's writing, and it's okay, so 2 things, and then I think I'm going to go. One person wrote that they work out and they feel really good, and after they work out, after that great high, they start to feel low. Everything is so individual with all people. One, you could be working out too hard, and you're draining your body. And another thing is, it's really good to replenish yourself and make sure that you're resting. The high of running is great, but without meditation, I think I would be bananas. If I just ran, which puts a lot of acid into my body. So another thing you can do is find things that alkaline the body as well, by getting green powdered juices or fresh wheatgrass, or like take the acid down out of your body. I find that helpful. When you meditate or you do yoga, it actually changes the acid in your body as well, your pH balance. Anything that calms the mind is so important right now. And it's not going to be one thing. Like, I could give you a slew of suggestions, but really what you need to do is just Google things and go where the pointers are and then explore it. Be an experiment within yourself. Find the things that work for you. These are the things that work for me. Everybody is completely different. So find something that you love. Someone's saying I'm not Callisto. That's hilarious. Maybe it's hidden. Yes, I love that person wrote that. It makes me want to stay on longer. I think that I played that character for a reason. You know, I wasn't going to be cast as that character because I was such a freak when I auditioned that I heard from one of the producers. I auditioned for like all the producers and the writers in the room, and they said, after I left, they just made fun of me, and they were like, she's crazy. She's absolutely crazy. And then finally, I think it was R.J. Stewart finally said, well, she is crazy, and we're all scared of her, but isn't that the character? Shouldn't we hire her? And then I think Rob Tappert had said, this is all, I didn't hear any of this is secondhand to me. Rob Tappert had said, well, what if she eats the crew? And And then they said, well, we just won't hire her back. And so that's how I got cast for that. But yes, of course, there is, I'll talk about that character on another one. It's too long to talk about right now, but I will answer some questions about that, because people don't think I'm grateful for that show or that character. That's not true. That show saved my life. That show was not always easy for me, and I was in a very, very dark place, and I'm incredibly grateful for it in all ways, and I loved that character. And yes, I relate highly to that character. And is that character still, is aspects of that in me? Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. And I don't think it's just in me. I think the reason why people relate to that character so much is because those aspects of humanity, those dark bits of humanity, are in all of us to some degree. It's just a matter of what we focus on. And there is great suffering in that kind of personality. A great deal. So, with that, there was one more question, and I can't remember it after that. That one about the person wrote. So, is there one more question that I can answer before I go? No, I don't chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, but I have before. It's a beautiful chant. I am not going to scream. I miss the yoga retreats too. It was a good show. Do I want to marry you? Probably not going to marry anyone. Love New Zealand. Are you going to ask me again to marry you? I do think stones can help with arthritis, but I think food is incredibly important with arthritis and alkalining the body. And I would Google that as well. Okay. So thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all so much. I never remember how to end this. Maybe sometime this week I'll get back on and we can talk about more stuff. Okay, so I wish you all well, and I thank you. And we'll talk again soon, I hope. Okay? Enjoy your day. Do something good today for somebody else. Do something good without expecting anything in return. Do something good. I will too. Okay. Okay, let's see if I can end this.